Kia ora and welcome back to Chapter 8, looking at assessing the competencies. One of the key spaces we've been looking at is how do we qualitatively assess and make sure that that reflects the capability and the capacity our young people, our young learners are actually creating for themselves through these competencies. We don't want to over-assess, and that's the last thing we want to do, and we talked earlier about making assessment fairly straightforward. We are also creating some software to go with this package so you can map this, and we want the learners to do most of the mapping of the assessment. We want them to peer assess each other, reflections, etc., personal reflections around this sort of process. So what we would like to do here is we've got these grids, and they'll appear in the software that hopefully be sort of around maybe between the middle towards the end of 2018 that allow us to map these processes. So assessing competence really is looking at qualitative assessment, and we've used some of the work of Patton and a few others to look at what qualitative assessment looks like. And to quote them, qualitative assessment is focused on understanding how people make meaning and then experience their environment or their world. All right? But however, the application of the methods themselves can yield very rich information, outcomes-based assessment. And so qualitative assessment is a valid assessment process, and quite often it's seen as second fiddle to quantitative, but increasingly through schooling and this advent of the change in what we're doing in our classrooms, there'll be less quantitative assessment and more qualitative assessment. So we need to get our heads around how we're going to do that. And once again, we're using the competencies to lead this way forward. And so what we're saying to young people is that, yes, here we go. Here are the frameworks. Here is starting out. This is the concept we're going to be looking for. Here's the learning statement. And what we'd like them to do is to create some artifacts to put into the next box down in this tiered down structure. And all we're going to do is collect some artifacts, and predominantly they're going to do that via video and via visuals. They will maybe do some writing, but mostly visuals and video. We just want to make this really, really straightforward and simple. We then want them to do a reflective assessment, and we've mapped those, as you can see, in the rubrics for each of the competencies. Once again though, these are not written on stone tablets, okay, so please feel free to edit them, change them, adapt them, adjust them. That is up to you. We really want you to encourage that. And then we've got an I predict statement, okay, which we've put in for you as well, and you can use that I predict statements to actually frame up how that works forward for you. And for the learners, taking ownership of that. Everyone has special abilities. If they do what? Okay, finish the statement, and briefly. We're not looking for paragraphs, we're looking at, maybe a couple of lines of recording here. Then we want to look at the peer assessments, so we'd like their peers to assess them and give them some feedback. And once again, that can be captured using video. It's the most reliable way, and it also picks up a whole lot of subtlety and nuance that may not be obvious if we write that out. Then we can make that available to parents, and in the meantime you can use Seesaw to do this. Seesaw's got the capacity to get parent caregiver comments back and have peer assessments, etc. So let's use probably Seesaw as an interim process until we get the software out to you. And then parents can make those comments, but then an educator might also make an assessment. So the assessments come from themselves, the learner's peers, the learner's parents, caregivers, primary sort of people around their world who've got access to that, seeing what they've done, and then finally that reflective assessment of themselves and the educator assessment. So assessment is a dynamic process. It's a qualitative process. We're not expecting a number anywhere for this because it is very, very much a judgmental sort of statement around how well has this learner taken on board this competence and expressed that in their day-to-day world. So let's keep assessment simple, to the point, succinct, and this framework and architecture we've deliberately kept simple for that purpose. Okay, so good luck with that, and we will see you soon in Chapter 9. Okay, thanks very much.